And guys, a vintage night from one Klay Thompson. And you know what? It was almost a year to the day that Klay went to Sacramento with the Warriors in a play-in, went 0 for 10 from the field, 0 for 6 from three-point land, scored 0 points. And look what he did tonight back there in Sacramento. 23 points on 8 of 11 shooting. He had 16 points in that second quarter, which was the quarter that was the difference in this ball game. The Mavs outscoring the Kings 44-19 in that quarter. They took control of the game and never looked back. Smitty, what is it about Klay where he could just come out and have these vintage nights?
He's a gamer, and obviously his shooting ability, you can't give him any airspace. And you can tell he had this one locked in because of what happened last year when he played against the Sacramento Kings, and you said it best. The difference was that second quarter. Let's just watch Klay Thompson. I ain't never seen him, Earl, take this many dribbles in my life. But Klay doing a nice job of doing what he does best, moving without the basketball. You let him get square. He does an excellent job of getting square, getting his feet set. And at 6'7", if you're late, you're not going to get a hand up on the shot. He's going to knock it down. On this one, as you're watching right now, we don't remember Klay, a lot of people, as a defensive guy. He'll give you that in spurts, gets this steal, comes down, pushes the basketball. That's 3 dribbles, 4. I don't know if I've ever seen this before. Klay Thompson been able to handle the basketball, drive it with his left hand. He was locked in, backdoor, and then finishing at the rim. You said it, Andy. I mean, that 44-19 second quarter was totally the difference, and he had 16 points, which gave them that separation for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and his plus-minus he had a game-high plus-minus of plus 31. And, Earl, that was actually also a season high. So, it was clear that Klay came out just a man on a mission tonight.
Yeah, he came out focused. And Klay remembers that day, too. I believe that,
Yeah.
He's such a competitor. And when he brings to the table both ends of the court, he brings leadership, championship, insight. And he has a mission and an energy that's infectious about him that's also selfless. So him coming out, being efficient, and raise the level of his other teammates. And I think it helped AD settle in as well, have a big night.
Yeah, and this is exactly what the Mavs kind of envisioned when they made the trade. It was the bigs just dominating. Mm-hmm. Anthony Davis, P.J. Washington, Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively. I mean, they just brought such a defensive intensity to this ball game. When they play like that, Smitty, they're pretty tough to beat.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I give Najee Marshall a lot of credit, what he did on guarding Zach LaVine and other guards. They made it tough. And then you have this length and size. Every time you look up, you have 2 7-footers out on the floor. It just made things hard for guys like DeRozan and Zach LaVine, especially guys who want to shoot the mid-range, get to the bucket. But I love the intensity. I like Dante Exum. I mean, no Kyrie Irving, you could just imagine implementing him with this team. This is a team that could have a deep run in the playoffs.
Yeah, and AD, a little bit of a slow start in this one, Earl, but when every time the Kings kind of wanted to make a push in this game, he would come through, make a big bucket or make a big play.
He did a great job. We know AD can do so many things on the court. What we love to see him do is establish his will at the paint, at the rim, making plays for others, getting to the basket, scoring at the basket, and also we know he can pass that point forward, 5, whatever he wants to be, scoring a perimeter. And he brings that type of hard mismatch. How do you defend him? If he pops, do you switch it? If you switch it with a small, he'll post shoot. If you hedge, he can get off, pick and pop, drive you. If you drop, he can shoot the 3. And it's an intangible that's really hard to guard.
Yeah, and then the other side, I think, guys, the Kings they find themselves in this position again where, kind of a disappointing end to their season. They made the trade, added Zach. But Smitty, it seemed to it didn't gel enough for them to make any kind of run here and get in the playoffs.
It was just a difficult team that watching they put together. A lot of good pieces, a lot of guys that individually are very good. And they weren't a selfish ball club. I just don't think all the pieces fit with one another. I still think they got to play bigger with Sabonis maybe at the 4 or just have another guy with some size. They need a point guard. I think for them is obviously losing Fox. Couldn't replace him with another lead guard. Monk tried his best. They have too many same-size guys. I mean, with Murray, Monk, LaVine, Rosen, all those guys kind of play the same and need the same space.
Yeah, and Monk, they definitely missed him in this game. They just lacked that punch especially from three-point land. DeRozan, he scored to 33, Earl. Took 28 shots, though. It just seems like they just couldn't get enough offensively going this one to match the Mavs' intensity.
You have to credit that to the Mavs. You talk about their defense. They have 8 block shots, 9 steals, right? And that's hard to go against when you're an offensive player. And DeMar, we know, is a two-point specialist, mid-range specialist. He plays with a certain pace, a certain rhythm, and a certain flow. But like, Smitty said, when you build it's simple. When you build a team, you build it, in my analogy, the way you would build a pickup game to 7. Mm-hmm. Do I want guys to complement each other? Do I want every player to be the same? And this team in Sacramento has so many of the same type of players with the same rhythm. There's no balance to it.
Mm-hmm. It's just such a shame that Kyrie tore his ACL because we didn't really get to see this Mavs team at full strength at all this season. I mean, Smitty, had they had Kyrie, I mean, what do you think the ceiling would have been for this team?
I look at it as we saw today. They'll be able to defend. I mean, obviously, you got Klay Thompson will have more open shots because the gravity Kyrie draws. Then you have AD, doesn't have to be the number one option. Kyrie's okay with being the number one option. They have a finisher. It just takes everybody else and lightens their load and lightens their pressure. And then unfortunately for them is they didn't have Lively and Gafford until the end of the season, so they missed so much.
Yeah, and Earl, if Klay Thompson's going to play like this, how do you see that matchup with the Grizzlies going? Can Dallas go in there and get that win and grab that 8 seed?
Ron, I think the key to that game is Brandon Williams, who came off the bench tonight. Mm-hmm. And in 17 minutes and 38 seconds, he was a plus 24, 17 points, 5 assists. And why do I say that? He's the guy that can get to the paint, find Klay Thompson on catch and shoot opportunities. He has feel. He has touch. You see the game before it happens offensively. He knows how to get into the paint. He can shoot from the 3. He can get into pick and roll action. He can manipulate the pick and roll. He can make the right pass or take the right shot.
And the bench is such a strength for this Mavs team, Smitty. Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems like they're 10 deep, so they never have to worry about foul trouble or anything when they get in these big games.
I mean, you have Exum, Christie, Martin, Gafford, Williams, still have Hardy and Powell. I mean, they're still a deep team without a Kyrie Irving. It's just unfortunately for them is, Caleb Martin is starting to find his rhythm. They haven't had a lot of games together to gel. But so far, so good. They did gel on the defensive end tonight. If they can hang their hat on the defensive end, they can make it hard for some teams.
How much do you think this Mavs team, with all the noise they've had to deal with since that trade, how much do you think they want to go on a nice run here, Earl?
Compliments to Jay Kidd. It's really hard as a coach to keep that locker room with belief. I always say this game is as skill, as talent, and as a head coach, you kind of manage that. But the biggest thing you do as a head coach in huddles and practices is keep the belief alive. He's done a great job. They responded to him because they could have tapped out in this game. Easily been understandable. He's kept them together. He's kept them sharp. He's challenging them in the right ways for his vets to lead and the others to follow.
Yeah, I got a lot of Mavs fans in my life. And, I mean, they were clearly devastated by the trade and kind of felt betrayed. But they need a reason to get excited about this team. And this game kind of gives them a little bit of hope and a little bit of glimmer of what this team can be when they're at full strength, and they're not even there yet. But Smitty, where do you see this going for the Mavs?
Hey, Mavs fans. Welcome back to Mavs Insider, your go-to spot for all things Dallas Mavericks. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video so you don't miss a second of the action as we break down every key moment from this postseason push. Today, we're reacting to the Mavs' dominant win in the play-in opener against the Sacramento Kings and what it means for their playoff chances. It all went down Wednesday night. The Dallas Mavericks came in as the 10th seed in the NBA's play-in tournament, facing the Sacramento Kings on the road in a do-or-die matchup. Win, and they move on to face Memphis. Lose, and the season's over. All eyes were on this one. The Mavs were mostly healthy except for one huge piece missing, Kyrie Irving. He sat out this one, and with that, Coach Jason Kidd rolled out a big lineup. Najee Marshall, Klay Thompson, P.J. Washington, Anthony Davis, and Derek Lively too. On the other side, the Kings started Zach LaVine, Keon Ellis, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan, Murray, and Domantas Sabonis. From the opening tip, this game had the energy of a playoff battle. Lead changes, defensive intensity, and huge plays on both ends. But once the Mavericks found their rhythm, they did not look back. The game opened tight. Buckets were traded, leads flipped, and both teams came out aggressive. but after a couple of free throws from DeMar DeRozan gave Sacramento a brief 7-6 lead, Dallas turned up the pressure. The Mavs went on a 9-0 run behind 2 corner threes from Najee Marshall and a powerful putback slam by P.J. Washington. It was a statement. This wasn't going to be an easy night for Sacramento, even after a quick Kings response, highlighted by threes from Trey Lyles and DeRozan. Dallas kept its composure. Brandon Williams, a game-time decision, checked in and hit a 3 to tie it. The quarter ended with Sacramento up by just 2, 29-27, but the momentum was starting to shift. This is where Dallas separated itself. Brandon Williams opened the second, with back-to-back threes sparking an 8-0 run. Klay Thompson finally got on the board with a triple of his own, and P.J. Washington followed with a smooth runner. Dante Exum hit a couple of free throws, then found Marshall in transition for a quick bucket. Just like that, the Mavs were up 12, and Mike Brown was forced to burn a Kings timeout. But it didn't help. Klay Thompson caught fire, like vintage Klay. He poured in 14 points in the second quarter alone, going 5 of 7 from deep overall. His 16th point of the quarter pushed the lead to 15. And then Anthony Davis woke up. AD sprinted down the floor for an easy layup, then stepped out and knocked down not 1, but 2 straight threes. The Mavs entered halftime with a 71-48 lead. That's right, 71 points in one half, while holding the Kings to just 19 points in the second quarter. Even more telling, Sacramento had more turnovers than made field goals in that stretch. Out of the break, Dallas didn't let up. Anthony Davis connected with Derek Lively 2 on a high-low lob to push the lead to 25. Sacramento tried to make a run. DeRozan got aggressive, and Zach LaVine finally woke up with a couple of drives. But every time the Kings made a move, Dallas had an answer. Dante Exum drilled a transition 3, Washington got a lucky bounce for a corner triple, and Brandon Williams kept the pressure on. The Kings cut it to 16 late in the quarter, but Dallas stayed in control. The third closed with the Mavs up 99-81. In the final frame, Sacramento gave it one last push, but it wasn't enough. Brandon Williams quickly pushed the lead back to 20, and the Mavs began to coast. Anthony Davis hit a tough fall-away bank shot, and that pretty much sealed it. The Kings were out of gas. Final score, 120-106 Dallas. Anthony Davis led the way with 27 points and 9 rebounds. He looked every bit like the star Dallas traded for, but make no mistake, this was a team win. Klay Thompson dropped 23 points, including 5 of 7 from beyond the arc. Brandon Williams, stepping up in Kyrie's absence, delivered 17 huge points off the bench. P.J. Washington put up a solid 17 and 9, and Dante Exum added 11, doing all the little things on both ends. As for Sacramento, DeMar DeRozan dropped 33, but he had no real help. LaVine scored 20, but it wasn't efficient, and Sabonis had a quiet 11 and 13. No other King even hit double digits. This win shows a few important things. First, even without Kyrie, the Mavericks have the depth, talent, and defensive identity to win when it counts. That second quarter, that was some of the best two-way basketball we've seen from this squad all season. Second, the trade deadline moves, getting P.J. Washington, Najee Marshall, and of course Anthony Davis, are paying off big time. This team looks deeper, smarter, and more versatile than they did just a month ago. Now the focus shifts to Friday night in Memphis. One more win, and the Mavericks are officially in the playoffs. The biggest question heading into that game, will Ja Morant play? His injury status could swing that matchup either way. But let's be real, if the Mavs play like they did tonight, they can beat anybody. What did you think of the Mavs' performance? Who stood out the most to you? Do you think this team can make a real playoff run? Let me know in the comments below. I want to hear your takes. And if you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe to Mavs Insider, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a breakdown, a reaction, or a preview. We're just getting started, and this ride could You're crazy. Until next time, I'm signing off. Let's go, Mavs.